I just don't know what to tell you. How can you be so gullible? Is he kind? Please. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You have no idea how happy it is for me to be back here finally after procrastinating making videos for months and months and months. But it is 2023 and this year I really do want to make it a point to focus more on this channel instead of various other ideas that I have had. But that is not why you're here today. You're here today because you want to hear me talk about Meghan Markle, and of course we're gonna get to that in a second. But if you're new here, my name's Elizabeth Rogliani. I have been kind of creating content on social media, on Instagram mainly, for a couple of years now, and I focus on social, political, and cultural commentary, and the occasional red pill. So without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you might be thinking, why are you getting into this type of gossip, this kind of tabloid conversation? Well, first of all, because I find it fascinating. 2, because I want to highlight the hypocrisy that is going on. And 3, this is not just some tabloid stuff. This is history in the making. Imagine if I was talking about a woman who came from a foreign land and entered into the royal family of Britain 500 years ago, and basically is attempting to destroy it and dragging it through the mud. Now that might be an interesting story for you history buffs. So just because it's happening now, it does not mean that it isn't relevant to our culture, to history, to tradition. And you know, if you know me, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am fascinated by tradition, by traditional cultures, by heritage, and by a nation's history. So this definitely falls into that. In the past, I did make another sort of pop culture video, which was about Amber Heard and how she used the cultural narrative, the cultural conversation about #MeToo and Believe All Women to destroy the man she was with, to get what she wanted, to get the bag. She used that narrative that women were just light beings and we can't do anything wrong and men are oppressing us. But thankfully, we all got poetic justice, especially the ones that saw it from a mile away. Regardless, there are plenty of socialists, progressives, quote-unquote humanitarians, and even communists that will not hesitate to rub shoulders with those they profess to hate, to elevate their status. In the heart of all of that is envy. Envy that someone else has it, but not you. Now, this should not be confused with valid and constructive criticism towards multinational corporations that essentially destroy anything in their wake to rise to the top. Destroy small towns, destroy mom and pop shops, destroy small businesses, and any kind of competition to get to the top. There is valid criticism there. Neither this is a dig at English aristocracy or the English nobility. Before I get into the Duchess, Meghan Markle, who rejects the monarchy yet still uses her royal titles and her connection to the monarchy to make her money, I want you to consider, if you know any progressives that embrace these current values, these current political values as lip service and nothing else, but they are yet the most superficial people you know. Virtue signaling people are often materialistic and superficial. This is quite common. They pretend to care about whatever causes to show the people around them that they are good and deserving of the life they have. But they will forget their supposed standards as soon as the opportunity presents itself. I mean, even the Queen of Spain, before she met the prince and current king, was a Republican. A Republican in Spain means you are someone that does not want the monarchy but a republic. If she had not married into the monarchy, I promise you, she would be promoting the leftist socialist party in Spain that wants the monarchy gone. The leftist party, Podemos, who would be happy to remove the royal family of Spain just like the Bolsheviks did to the Tsar. And speaking of hypocrisy, one of the most prominent members of that party just happens to have a thing for buying luxury houses. But I digress. The Queen of Spain, many suspect even today she is still a communist. But regardless, we're not here to speak about the Queen of Spain. I'm just using her and others to highlight how many of those people we have promoting certain ideals that they don't believe themselves. But yes, the Queen of Spain was a divorced TV news reporter when she met the prince. However, unlike Meghan, Queen Letizia is actually queen. But I'm sure Meghan would have loved a higher title. Meghan frames her story of meeting Harry as the greatest love story ever. When she met Harry, she says she was intent on being single. That meeting Harry was totally unexpected, a plot twist in her life. But really, she begged his childhood friend to set them up. She was surrounding herself with people that could set them up with wealthy English men.
I knew her when she was in a show called Suits.
Yeah.
We're going back. I didn't know who she was at the time. And I was at a charity event, and I think you may know him, John Caldwell's.
Yeah.
And he said, look, can you sit next to this girl? She's flown in from Canada. And I wanted to be with my mates. I was like, no, I want to sit with my friends and have a giggle. He was like, no, look after her. But actually, we got on really, really well. And we did have a huge giggle. And she wanted to find an English boyfriend. So I said, look, I'll help you. So I was going through my phone. There was Ashley Cole, Chelsea footballer. I was trying. But, it was quite funny. But she did want to have an English boyfriend.
That was her plan all along.
Yeah, and she loved being here in London. So she wanted to work here. She actually wanted to be Made in Chelsea.
And funnily enough, she was still living with her ex-boyfriend in Toronto when she met Harry. For Meghan, most of her friendships were transactional. Anyone that could help her go up in the ranks was going to be her friend until she no longer needed them. Or if they stopped singing her praises, of course. If you really don't believe that that's the case, ask yourself why Meghan Markle invited so many Hollywood celebrities who she didn't know or barely knew to her wedding. Yet, barely anyone in her family except her mother and none of her childhood friends. She invited Oprah and George Clooney and these people to the wedding and these A-listers to the wedding because that was her chance to establish herself with the Hollywood royalty. That was her chance to start making these connections. While working in the TV show Suits, in the first year, she would make $75,000 per episode, and there was 12 episodes that season, so you do the math. She spent a lot of that money paying PR companies to boost her image. Now, I have nothing against this. Meghan was being a smart and savvy businesswoman. She wanted to continue growing in her career. Me personally, if I had been making that money, I probably would have saved a lot of it and just enjoyed my life and continued to take acting lessons and whatever else you need. But her biggest goal was to rise to the ranks, and congrats to her, she did that. Now, of course, the question is, can she keep it up? She wanted to have an image of a humanitarian and a philanthropist. She took 2 sponsored trips to Africa with her hairdresser and I believe her stylist. And in one day, she took multiple photos in multiple different outfits. Why? To create the illusion that she was there longer than she actually was. While she was in Africa, trying to help these children have running water, she also demanded of the company that flew her there to have her stay in a 5-star accommodation. Also, she wanted to fly first class. And listen, I have nothing against luxury. I love luxury myself, but time and place, Meghan. Just time and place. Again, it was all for show. She wanted to have her Wikipedia page not read actress and model, but actress, philanthropist, and humanitarian. And again, she says that she was in England intent on being single that summer. But really, as I said, she was connecting with the right people, making sure that she would ask anyone she knew, any socialite, if they could introduce her to an Englishman of status, of course. She pretended that all she asked of Prince Harry was, is he kind? Is he kind? If you are, as a woman, really believe that this is what happened, I just don't know what to tell you. How can you be so gullible? Is he kind? Please. She claimed she didn't know who Prince Harry was, how little she knew about him. She was a teenager when Princess Diana died. A teenager. I was a toddler. And yet, I knew who she was. And I knew who Prince Harry was. And I didn't follow royal news until this whole spectacle blew off. And I couldn't believe history in some way was repeating itself. And as it goes, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. Or something of the sort. Meghan pretended she wanted to be a team player as she entered the monarchy. She pretended she was not going to read the newspapers, the tabloids, the comment sections, but clearly that was not the case. She pretended that she was leaving her life of LA and being an actress behind and that this was a new chapter. But why did she keep her publicist, her business manager, her LA entertainment lawyers? Why did she keep them if she really was completely going to integrate into royal life? A working royal does not need these things in LA, but a Hollywood actress does. And that's what she really wanted to be at the end of the day. She wanted to be Hollywood royalty. Now, of course, she is making a living by trashing the royal family while still using the title granted by the late Queen. And please, King Charles, please someone take this title away from her. How does a woman that maybe has been to Sussex once, does not care for this place, gets to parade around the United States with the title Duchess of Sussex? I think it's an insult to Sussex. Netflix paid them allegedly $6 million to complain on a 6-hour documentary about the royal family. I mean, poor guys. Meghan, poor girl. Like, she had to cook her own food. There was no personal chef. She was a duchess. How can there be no personal chef? She also had to attend these engagements. I mean, life is hard for a royal. They have to attend engagements and not go on multiple vacations in Lake Como with George Clooney. And all of this victim narrative, champions of the change of institutional and systematic racism as they have been presenting themselves. All of this, and yet Meghan is just one of many. She is not the exception. Whether you're on the left or the right, you have to recognize a lot of celebrities that will take a knee to cancel racism or rant against Donald Trump or champion political causes. They do it because it's publicity for them. Publicity. They don't do it because they actually believe in these things. Now, there's obviously exceptions to the rule, and I have much more respect for the actors that don't engage in such publicity stunts. But really, they have us tired these days. They are all doing it. They need to come up with a new thing because it's getting a little bit old. A lot of them do it. And even though we disagree with them, or some of us disagree with them, all publicity is good publicity. Even very negative publicity, even though Meghan hates it, will get them talking about you. Now, Meghan used all of this to rise through the ranks, use her victimhood, people being mean to me online, to rise through the ranks, but how far will she really go? So what now? I thought when they left the UK and they wanted to live their life away from the media, that they would go away, that they would live in a $18 million mansion, but quietly. Of course not. They have not gone away. They depend on the monarchy in some way or form to boost their image. What do you think will happen? Will all of this crash and burn? Have they already reached their peak and it is time for their descent? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you'd like me to continue to speak about this topic, if you'd like me to explore more about the royal family, more about this seductress Duchess, or not. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.